and now months later, only a small percentage of the targeted population of over 2 million people has been inoculated. And that story is on page 9 of the Daily Nation. It has the data and all the specifics from the Ministry of Health.
And maybe we are on stories to do with politics, still in the front page of the Standard newspaper this morning. We have Ngilu, Kalonzo should join Raila team or fall. Now, Kitui governor says Ukambani people want to be in the next government, and the Wiper leader cannot win presidency. Therefore, he has to join the winning team. And this story is very much well broken down the pages 14 and 15 of the Standard newspaper this morning. Maybe you can just have a slight look with a headline on Ngilu Kalonzo must join Azimio coalition or fall. Now, Ngilu traces a relationship with ODM leader to 1990s when the country was fighting for change, and she believes that Kalonzo will suffer if he doesn't join Azimio movement. And maybe if I can just take a punchline from Ash, it says that I can tell you without an iota of doubt, our people do not wish at all to be in the opposition, and they can see where the government is going to be now. Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu argues that actually a good leader can serve in any positions, be it a governor, senator, leader of the majority in parliament, cabinet secretary, and speaker, among others. And she said that he kiburi at his arrogance, that is what kiburi in English means, that unless I'm president, the president is not okay. I can still serve as senator, women representative, among others, because these are positions of service. Those are just some of the punchlines from the Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu. And this story has been very much well broken down with how did you yourself become in politics. Actually, a kind of an interview with the Kitui Governor, that is Charity Ngilu, and this story is in the pages 14 and 15 of the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, and now still matters politics. We have a story on page 5 of the Daily Nation and still on the front page of the Daily Nation, where the registrar blows whistle for party primaries. Now we go to page 5 and just have a quick look at that story where the political party's registrar, Ms. Anne Nderitu, has blown the whistle and set the ball rolling for nominations as thousands of aspirants assemble their troops in readiness for campaigns. Now, Ms. Anne Nderitu yesterday released the breakdown of key lines that parties have to follow following the coming into law of the Political Parties Amendments Act. And just to have the highlights, the parties are to write the registrar of their intention to conduct primaries at least 21 days before. Okay. Yeah. And now the registrar is to issue the party with a certified copy of the register of the political parties members within 7 days. Now the parties are to notify the registrar not less than 10 days before the date of the nomination, the method it intends to use for nominations, the date, the venue, and the candidates. Okay. Yeah. And now the parties to at least 7 days before the date of nominations publish in their website dates and venues of nomination, and the disputes arising from the party nominations to be resolved within 30 days after the nomination. And those are just the highlights. So you can read the story in details on page 5 of the Daily Nation.
And maybe, Christine, on the same line on the page 4 under the national news in the Standard newspaper this morning, we have envoys, top officials in talks over rigging claims. Now, ambassadors pile pressure for Kenya to hold free and fair polls, ensure smooth transition. Now, Matiang'i says measures shall be are actually already in place, but job of guaranteeing credible elections belongs to electoral team. And now, still on this page 4, we have the IEBC fears that says in November, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission withdrew from the National Sectoral Consultative Forum on Election Preparedness, headed by Chief Justice Martha Koome, saying it infringed on its independence. Now, in a letter addressed to Interior Principal Secretary, that is Karanja Kibicho, the electoral body's chairman, Wafula Chebukati, said that the commission was not subject to direction or control by any person or authority. And actually, he observed that the Electoral Preparedness Committee had assumed the role of other institutions, notably the National Assembly's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. And from a punchline from the IEBC boss, that is Mr. Wafula Chebukati, it says that we must respectively point out that the forum as currently constituted has pushed the IEBC to the periphery while giving center stage to other institutions. And this story is in the page 4 of the Standard newspaper this morning.
And now looking at matters security in the Daily Nation this morning. And now Kenya-Somalia border wall is stripped bare by vandals. Smuggling of goods from Somalia into the country is rampant as traders bribe officials manning the border. Now, in early 2015, Ngonjo, Kenya announced plans to build a wall that is 700 kilometers wall along its border with Somalia. Now, the barrier was intended to keep away Al-Shabaab terrorists who were crossing into Kenya at will, killing and maiming people. Now, the fence would also help to tame smuggling of goods, illegal trafficking of people, and immigration. But the plan came after the terrorist siege of Garissa University in 2015 that saw 148 people killed. But now the idea was not welcomed by the residents of Mandera and Somalia's neighboring town of Bulahawa, who saw it as a government plot to separate them. Now, it is sad because the amount of shillings that the policemen that are manning the border are given is as little as 50 shillings to allow people to cross the border.
So unfortunate.
It's quite unfortunate. And our severally Kenyan security agencies have clashed with their Somali counterparts over fee collection at this point. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and the latest was September last year over Mira transportation. The two sides exchanged fire after several vehicles transporting the commodity were blocked from entering Bulahawa. Okay, and a vehicle belonging to Kenya Revenue Authority was damaged and its driver escaped death by a whisker. Okay, and Mira transporting vehicles also pay revenue to the police guarding the crossing point. Now that story is on page 12 of the Daily Nation, but it is quite unfortunate that the people who we ensure our security to are the ones who are collecting as little as 50 shillings to allow the crossing of the border they are manning.
Exactly, that is an area of concern as well this morning, because it's something that that project you see now it's like the citizens thought that it was a way of separating them.
Yes.
But maybe the government was doing it out of goodwill. But now it's work of our policemen who has been working tirelessly to make sure that we are safe here in Kenya from any internal and external attacks.
Yes.
And maybe on the line of politics in the page 6 under the national news in the Standard newspaper this morning of sibling rivalries in Nyanza. Will they hurt or make Raila rise? Now, ODM leader has repeatedly warned legislators from his rural backyard against engaging in squabbles that could undermine his presidential bid. And the party nominations have, for instance, been a major headache for the Orange Party over the years. And even as other regions close ranks behind Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja, there are fresh concerns that an explosion of party nominations in his rural Nyanza political backyard could slow down the former Prime Minister's momentum. And now some of the Raila's key lieutenants, including Orange Democratic Movement, that is the ODM chairman, John Mbadi, Senator Minority Leader James Orengo, Homabay MPs Gladys Wanga, Kisii Senator Sam Ongeri, Dagoretti MP, that is Dagoretti North MP, that is Simba Arati, former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero, and former Cabinet Minister Dalmas Otieno are presently consumed in cutthroat contests for governor seats in Homabay, Siaya, Kisii, and Migori counties. And this actually pundits observe that could lock Mr. Raila in endless firefighting at the expense of his national campaign. And now here in the pages 6 and 7 of the Standard newspaper this morning, we have a very clear image of the ODM leader Raila Odinga addressing a crowd during the Azimio la Umoja National Convention that is in December last year, if I'm not wrong, at Moi International Sports Complex, Kasarani in Nairobi. And we also have an image of Gladys Wanga, Sam Ongeri, and James Orengo. And maybe if I can just quote something here, we have 8, that is the number of ODM leader Raila Odinga's key lieutenant presently consumed in the control contest for governor seats in Homa Bay, Siaya, Kisii, and Migori counties. And this story is in the pages of 6 and 7 of the Standard newspaper this morning. We are with a punchline from Murang'a women representative, that is Sabina Shege, that says, my counterparts in Nyanza only need to improve on their time management so that they can focus both on local and national campaigns. Baba is a strong candidate whom they should invest in.
And now, just to keep the conversation going, please, we would like to hear your views still as we continue telling you or reading to you some of the stories making headlines in our dailies this morning. Remember, our social media handles are always open for you at SITG TV on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
And remember, you can join in this conversation by writing your comment on our SMS line as displayed in your screens. And you can as well make a call on the same line.
Okay, now still on matters politics, we have a story on page 4 of the Daily Nation where we have a Kakamega governor, Mr. Wycliffe Oparanya, and ODM deputy party leader who has dismissed claims that he is warming up to Deputy President William Ruto's camp after missing Azimio la Umoja campaigns in Western Kenya. And just to read what the headline says, I would be a madman to quit Azimio and join Ruto. Now, the Kakamega governor is seen as a key pillar in Mr. Odinga's camp from the region. His absence from Azimio la Umoja rallies in Vihiga and Busia counties last week created the impression that he was reconsidering his position in ODM. Now, the Azimio la Umoja rallies were presided over by ODM Deputy Party Leader Ali Hassan Joho. He was assisted by MPs Junet Mohamed of Suna East, Kanini Kega of Kieni, Sabina Shege of Murang'a, and Democratic Action Party DAP Kenya leader Wafula Wamunyinyi. Now, a section of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, led by Deputy President Ruto's supporters, had claimed that Mr. Oparanya will join their camp during a rally at Amalemba grounds in Kakamega last Sunday. Now, just to quote some of the people who said, Mathira MP Rigathi Gachagua is among those who had claimed that Mr. Oparanya was ready to join the camp following the 4 past meetings with the Deputy President. And now, still on the same page, we have a photo of Governor Wycliffe Oparanya addressing an Azimio la Umoja rally at Lushea Market in Mumias on January 22nd, and a quote from him that says, when the party leader is away, I hold a brief for him. I've even heard of rumors that I am heading to UDA. It is a joke. Yes. And
that story is in the pages?
Page 4 of the Daily Nation.
Page 4 of the Daily Nation. And in my page 24, that is under the election battleground, we have Kinjori's big race to recapture MP's seat. Now, former CS faces a crowded field that has former MP, woman representative, and current legislator. And President Kenyatta's support for Raila may complicate things for Kinjori. Now, former agriculture CS Mwangi Kinjori has thrown his hat in the ring to recapture the Laikipia East parliamentary seat in the August 9 general elections. And this will, however, not be a walk in the park for Mr. Kinjori, who represented the constituency between 1997 and 2013. And Mr. Kinjori will be facing several other aspirants, including the sitting member of parliament, that is Dedi Amin Mohamed, an area women representative, that is Catherine Warogoro. The Service Party, that is the TSP leader, is banking on his track record to win over the support of more than 250,000 residents to get another stint in parliament. Now, if maybe you can have a slight look on this, we have from the 27 MP race, that is the number of voters in the 5 county assembly wards. We have 88,886. The current MP, as I've said, that is from the Jubilee Party, is Dedi Ahmed Mohammed, and actually he had 56,623 votes. That is the 2017 election. So that shows how powerful he was by then,
Yes.
and the number of voters and supporters he had in the area. With the man who followed him was Anthony Mutai. He was, of course, an independent candidate who had only
yes.
12,366 votes, and the last person, who was Martin Matthew Awero from the MCCP, who had 1,306 votes. So that shows how it is difficult for them. For Mr. Kinjuri, is actually was the former, that is CS for agriculture.
Yes.
Because apart from Dedi Amin Mohammed, who is also vying for the same seat, we also have the women representative as well, who is also after the seat as well. And that is why it has been referred that it shall not be a walk in the park for Mr. Kinjuri, because actually this is a big race and he's not the only person participating in it.
Okay, and now on that note, we go on our first very short break, but we will be back with more on our dailies this morning.
Sheria haijui mkubwa na mdogo.
Lakini mpaka kutumia mbinu kuwezesha kutufanya nchi ya China ndani ya miaka 30 imetoa watu milioni 300,000.
Welcome back to Morning Informant newspaper review. We're still telling you some of the stories that are making headlines in our dailies this morning, and we move on to the county news. Yes?
Yes, and in the front page of the Standard Counties, that is the page 23 in the Standard newspaper, we have a man jailed for 12 years after plea bargain. Now, the High Court in Eldoret has sentenced a man to 12 years in jail for stabbing his neighbor to death, and this is after entering a plea bargain agreement with the prosecution. And Alex Ngosi is said to have caused the death of Peter Amari on January 10, 2016 at Sheyo village in Eldoret West District, Uasin Gishu. And Justin Eric Ogola, who delivered the sentence, stated that the accused would serve sentence from the day of arrest. And Ngosi has been in the fight with his employee before Amari separated them, only for Ngosi to confront him later and stab him. This is the story, as I said, is in the page 23 of the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, that's a sad story. And now we have a story on the county news in politics, where elders in northern Kenya counties choose candidates for various elective posts. Now, sorry, the elective posts. Now, the elders gave former Governor Godana Doyo, former Isiolo Assembly Speaker Mohamed Tupi, and Nur Mohamed Ibrahim the green light to vie for Governor Isiolo South MP and Senate seats respectively. Now, they also gave woman representative Rehema Jaldesa and Isiolo North MP Hassan Oda the nod to seek re-election. And now, but former anti-corruption agency boss Alahe Wako and former education chief administrative secretary Mumina Bonaya from the Boranas, Karayu and Wajida clans respectively ignored the elders' verdicts. And now President Kenyatta's quest to consolidate over 800,000 votes in northern Kenya for ODM leader Raila Odinga could be tested after he expressed reservations over negotiated democracy, which is widely practiced in this northern region. You know, President Kenyatta, who in the past 3 days has met delegates of leaders from Marsabit, Tana River, Mandera, and Isiolo counties, has been candid on the need for inclusion and fairness. And just to have a punchline on the president, he says, whether you elect Rendile, Gabra, Borana, Sakuye, or any other community, there must be representation on both sides of the divide. That story is on page 21 of the county news on Daily Nation.
And remember, you can join in this conversation by writing an SMS to us, and maybe we can have a look on our SMS line this morning. Some of the comments coming in, we have Fit Love saying that keep up the good work. We also have Cornerstone, who is saying that actually I'm watching from Nairobi. We have David Shem watching from Nyali. Thank you very much. Jemima Juma, as usual. Hello, Christine and Gonjo. I'm watching. Jemima watching from Kayole. Thank you very much, Jemima.
Thank you, Jemima.
We also have Cornerstone again here saying that Mudavadi and Wetangula are confused molecules and are lost here. We are looking what they have done so that we can listen to them. Thank you very much for joining in this conversation this morning. And remember, our social media handles as well as our SMS line remains open for you as you keep this conversation as flowing as possible. And as we continue with the standard counties, that is the news making headlines in our counties. We have 2 months agony for family of man trapped underground. And now if every moment Ochola thinks of her son, tears roll down her cheeks. Now a local NGO took over the operations to retrieve Okwat's body. Now for more than 2 months, Joyce Ochola has lived every parent's worst nightmare. And on December 2nd, 2021, Tom Okwach and other several miners were trapped when a mining shaft collapsed in that is a Bondo sub-county of Siaya in that case. And 6 miners were rescued and Okwach was not among them. Actually, he remained trapped. And the loss of a son has been too painful and too much for the family to bear as the search enters its 3rd month. And with only a handful of rescuers left at the site, the distraught mother says that she will not leave the mine until her son is found. And with me, here's an image of the scene of the collapsed gold mine at Abimbo in Siaya County, with an image of Joyce Ochola. That is the mother of Tom Okwach and Tom Okwach's photo. It's so unfortunate, and I'm so sure it's so heartbreaking as well for the family. And as you've heard, the mother is saying that she cannot leave that site until the body of her son is retrieved. So we just wish them all the best.
Yes, we wish them all the best.
Yes, as the search continues for retrieving Okwat's body from the collapsed mine, that is the collapsed mine that collapsed, that is on December 2nd, 2021. It's almost 2 months, over 2 months down the line.
Yes, over 2 months. It's actually close to 3 months now.
Close to 3 months still unretrieved.
Yes, and we wish that they find the body so that they can give Tom Okwach a befitting burial.
Sure.
Yes, and now moving on to Nakuru County, where we have police probes or police probe on clinics on unsafe abortion claims. Now, police are investigating several clinics in Naivasha allegedly for procuring unsafe abortions. A 21-year-old victim is fighting for her life at the Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. The matter has been brought to the police attention, and they are investigating. And this is according to the Deputy County Commissioner, Mr. Kisilu Mutua. That story is on page 22 of the Daily Nation, and it is quite sad that some clinics are still conducting abortions, even at this age and time.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so unfortunate, exactly, because I'm sure abortion is a crime, right?
It is a crime.
So committing a crime in the name of making money, so unfortunate as well.
And unfair, because now it is uncouth of the society
Exactly.
and endangering the lives of young people. Yes.
And maybe if you can just shift our gears to Kisumu County, we have former university staff awarded shillings 800,000 for unfair dismissal. Now, a former Great Lakes University worker has been awarded shillings 800,000 by court for unlawful dismissal. And Frank Kirwa had sued the university, actually seeking compensation alongside his 8 former colleagues who were shown the door in the year 2017. Those are approximately 5 years later. However, the 8, that is Patrick Madanji, Elizabeth Ochieng, and Benfis Omondi, just by a few to mention, are actually some of the people who are being chased out in the year 2017. And now, 5 years down the line, they have been compensated with 800,000.
Okay, now remember to keep the conversation going on all our social media platforms at SITG TV, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram. We're going for a very short break just to take a sip of water, and we will be back with more on world news, business, and sports.
Welcome to Legally Right. I'm your host, Purity Nabukaki.
And once you get the copy of title document, you go to the lawyer who will tell you. The title normally has certain securities that can tell you, is this real from the face of it, or is this a fake?
Ujambo mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu katika kipindi cha Jasho Langu. Tunaingia huku ndani, tunajua biashara zile ndogo ndogo ni gani na zinaendelea vipi. Zidi kutazama, hapo ndio utakuwa unapata hiki kipindi cha Jasho Langu.
Live in a beach life city, enjoying coastal lifestyle with a cool breeze and ocean tides as you watch the sunset. In Malindi, touching the Kilifi Watamu bypass, sitting just 100 meters off the white sandy beach in a gated and controlled development next to Malaika Beach Hotel. Finca Properties Limited offers you a 50 by 100 plot for only 1.5 million shillings. Electricity and water is available on site. This property is ideal for residential homes, cottages, holiday homes and hotels. For inquiries, bookings and reservations, SMS the word plot to 40309 or call us on 0721 737 300 or visit our website at www.fincar.co.ke. Come to our offices in Kitengela Town, Pena Towers, Suite B6. Title deeds are ready. Finca Properties Limited, prime and affordable.
Welcome back to Morning Informant. And remember, we are just winding up some of the stories that are making headlines in our dailies this morning. And it is about time we take that flight, as we always do in the morning, to look at some of the stories making headlines in our international realm. And we go straight to a crisis. That is, COVID restrictions have added to the economy woes in Democratic Republic of Congo, and famine looms on the capital, on the doorstep of the DRC capital. It's hard to eat there, and a quarter of the country's population has been affected by food crisis. This is according to the World Food Program. Now, last year, the World Food Program teamed up with United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, and the government to help locals buy food between March and December 2021, and they gave at least $402, that is equivalent to 354 euros in cash, to 21,000 households. Now, the project, which helped to feed 130 individuals, aimed to change people's lives and make them more independent, and that is according to the World Food Program. And there are no grains in the stores, and the village sits at the end of a bumpy track that is in Democratic Republic of Congo, and they go as far as 35 kilometers in search of just food and water. And they are worried because in November 2021, again, the World Food Program and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO, said that the food crisis in DRC has touched the quarter of the vast country's population, and that is nearly 27 million people. That story is on page 25 of the Daily Nation.
And on the Standard newspaper, on the Standard World this morning, of Egypt steps up Gaza role after brokering truce. Now, Cairo pledged shillings 56.8 billion in rebuild Gaza and sent a work crews to remove rubble. Now, it remains unclear how much of that money has been delivered. Now, after years of behind-the-scenes activity in the Gaza Strip, that is in Egypt, after years of behind-the-scenes activity in Gaza Strip, that is, Egypt is going public now.
Yes.
It has actually been publicized. Since mediating a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza's ruling Hamas militant group, Egypt has sent crews to clear rubble and is promising to build vast new apartment complexes. And if I can just take a punchline from the Housing Ministry Deputy Director that says, we hope there will be a large bundles of projects in the near future, especially the towers that were destroyed in the war. And this story is in the front page on the Standard World, but on the page 35 in the Standard newspaper, with also another story that is related about Macron keeps re-election cards close to his chest, that is in France.
And now just looking at another story in our international realm, and we have tensions as German Chancellor Olaf Scholz lands in Kyiv on Monday before visiting Moscow. US President Joe Biden spoke at length on Sunday with Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky about Russia's military buildup along Ukraine's border, with the pair committing to pursue diplomacy and deterrence. This is according to the White House. Now, the two leaders agreed on the importance of continuing to pursue diplomacy and deterrence in response to Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders. President Joe Biden reaffirmed the commitment of the United States of America to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and he also confirmed that the president's position he has established on multiple occasions when addressing Moscow's brinkmanship. That story is on page 26 of the international news on the Daily Nation.
And we have on the Standard newspaper this morning of cross-border trade between Kenya and Tanzania picks up again after COVID-19 scare. Now, Kenya's cross-border trade with Tanzania is on unprecedented upward trajectory as the economic rebounds from the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the latest economic data between the two East Africa's nations showing trade volumes in excess of shillings 40 billion for the year 2021. And this story is in the page in the page 24 of the Standard newspaper this morning, with an image of the PS for East African Community and Regional Development, Dr. Kevin Desai, making a point during the Trade Facilitation Forum at a one-stop border post on the Kenya-Tanzania border.
Okay, and now we take a flight back to Morning Informant, and we look at business news this morning. And now we have Treasury to vet 500 million Kenya shillings county flagship projects. The National Treasury will be vetting flagship projects selected by county governments to curb wastage through stalled and incomplete projects. In a circular, it said that it has included county governments among ministries, departments, and agencies which will have to obtain clearance before undertaking Vision 2030 flagship project. And now just looking at some of the highlights, we have the key figures, and that is 1 trillion Kenya shillings is the value of the projects that are now termed as white elephants. And now 437 projects initiated during President Kibaki's regime have stalled, and state wants them cancelled. And now 72% is the percentage of the most stalled projects as specified above are in the northern corridor, and this is 72% is equivalent to the 437 stalled projects, and that is quite a huge amount of projects stalled in the country.
A very huge one in that
Yes.
case. And maybe we can have a look from the financial standard that is about energy. Still on business, we have oil layoffs and no magic wand to Kenya Power runaway costs. Now, the despite utility firm cutting its workforce by 13% in 4.5 years, this has not helped improve its financial position, pointing to more deep-rooted problems such as spiraling debt. Now, we have Kenya Power's wage bill, if retains its current workforce of 9,843 is shillings 14.1 billion. And we have the 5.3 billion is the amount to be used on leave, gratuity, severance, and notice paid to workers who will volunteer to leave Kenya Power. And still here we have a content table from the Kenya Power staff costs with year, number of employees, and salaries and wages. And maybe if we can have a look from the 2021-2022, the Kenya Power had 9,843 employees.
Yes.
Who are actually given 15.8 billion, that is Kenya shillings. And from the former report on the 2016-2017 financial year, the Kenya Power had 11,295 employees, who were paid 14.9 billion Kenya shillings. So the number of employees has gone down, but the salaries and wages have gone high. This story is in the page 3 of the Financial Standard in the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, now moving on from page 27 of the Daily Nation, we look, because it's still on Matters Project, we look at the back page of the Daily Nation where we have a story on the probe, the report that was handed to President Uhuru Kenyatta in September 2019 at a State House. And this report was in regards to the Aror and Kimwaror dams. And now 50 billion Kenya shillings is the amount that costed the taxpayer. And a report on the viability of this dam, that is Kimwaror and Aror dams, is missing despite being handed over to the president in 2019. And now the team that was chaired by Infrastructure Principal Secretary Paul Maringa handed the report to the president on September 8th, 2019 at State House. But it has now emerged that State House and the National Treasury and the Ministry of Water and Sanitation and Irrigation, which were critical in the development of the dams, don't have access to the documents. Yes, and this is a story on the back page of the Daily Nation.
That is the last page on the Daily Nation.
Yes, the last page. And it is quite sad because 50 billion is quite a huge amount costing the taxpayers.
Exactly,
and
50 billion.
Yes, and it cannot be accounted for because the report is apparently missing. So you wonder, how is it missing? And if the 50 billion was injected to paying some of the debts that we are owed, we could be a least far as a country.
Exactly. So you cannot just know how the money was broken down or how the money was spent.
Yes.
Because there is no any report. And maybe if we can shift our gears to other news making headlines on our sports.
Yes.
In our sports, in that case, we have rested and re-energized drivers ready to tackle Amboseli leg. Now, some used yesterday's rest day to enjoy Valentine's Day. It was actually a restful day for them because yesterday, nothing on the East African Safari Classic, there was no any event yesterday. That is for for good for clarification.
Yes.
And it has been a fierce 4 days of competition in the ongoing East African Safari Classic Rally. That is the EASCR, with one rest day yesterday.
Yes.
And out of the 48 drivers who are participating in this rally, 15 are already out on contention, including the pre-race favorite Carl Flash Tundo. And the rally has passed through some quite rough sections from the lakeside towns of Naivasha and Nakuru and to the rail centers of Nanyuki, where the competitors had a glimpse of the iconic Mount Kenya. And now, with me here is the day 6 sections in Amboseli, with stage 1, that is stage 13, 14, and 15, being Meshinani, Gate, Mukutan, and Isineti, with 53.2 kilometers, 70.8 kilometers, and 87.4 kilometers respectively. We end from the apart from the clerk, of course, we have the rest day was used by crews to repair and build their cars. And this story is in the page 46 of the Standard newspaper this morning.
Okay, now moving on to page 38 of the Daily Nation, we see that AFC Leopards players gave their ardent fan, the late Isaac Juma, a befitting send-off following a 3-win over Posta Rangers in an FKF Premier League, at Thika Sub-County Stadium at the weekend. As Leopards' resurgence continued, Gor Mahia's match against Vihiga Bullets aborted in the second half due to chaos, which led to injury of 3 fans. At the time the match aborted, Gor Mahia were leading 1-0, and the FKF caretaker committee is yet to make a decision whether the win will be held or reversed, and another leg between the two sides rescheduled. Yes, and now that story is on page 38 of the Daily Nation.
And on the last page of the Standard newspaper this morning, we have PSG Real Madrid duel highlights last 16 fixtures. Now, the Champions League returns and clash of titans takes shape, and French giants face 13-time champions today. And today we have PSG versus Real Madrid, that is versus PSG today. We also have Sporting versus Man City, and tomorrow we have Salzburg versus Bayern Munich, and Inter Milan versus Liverpool. All these in the last page of the Standard newspaper, that is the page 48 this morning.
Okay, and now on that note, we have come to the stop of our newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. Now remember, we're coming back with the second part, and now that is discussion desk.
Exactly.
Yes, it's going to be very exciting because we have a guest and we can't wait to ask the questions. Please send in your comments and your views or through our social media platforms, that is at SITG TV on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
And as well, you can join in this conversation by writing an SMS to a platform number as displayed on your screen, that is 0706083050, and we will be glad as well to receive your live call on the same line this morning.
Please stay tuned.
Ujambo mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu katika kipindi cha Jasho Langu. Tunaingia huku ndani, tunajua biashara zile ndogo ndogo ni gani na zinaendelea vipi. Zidi kutazama, hapo ndio utakuwa unapata hiki kipindi cha Jasho Langu.
Africa is in the forefront of being a silicon savannah. With me, Christine Mutindi, stay tuned.
Welcome to Legally Right. I'm your host, Purity Nabukaki.
And once you get the copy of title document, you go to the lawyer who will tell you. The title normally has certain securities that can tell you, is this real from the face of it, or is this a fake one?
Whatever God wants to do, He has already revealed to His servants. So it takes you as our viewer and our listener to partake of what God has already spoken and to possess it and to own it. Then God will come to fulfill, because the Bible says there is no word which comes from God which falls down empty. Whenever God speaks, His word comes to fulfill a purpose.
I remember the Bible says when the children of Israel were coming from Egypt, the Bible says the children of Egypt and Pharaoh, they went after them. Why? Because they wanted them to remain as servants in the land of Egypt. But the Bible says that they had come for their life to change. Today God has sent me to declare to you, your day has come and your life has to change. Your day has come. If you believe it from the depth of your heart, somebody shout amen.
Wenzangu matunda.
Welcome back to Morning Informant, and this morning it is #Business Tuesday. Now, being Business Tuesday, yes, it is important that we look at some of the stories, or rather the platforms that the young people have engaged in, and to get a source of income.
Of course.
Yes.
They are just trying to think it outside the box, and today, actually, it's all about online platforms of making money. Exactly how the young people are actually venturing into online platforms. It can be academic writing, it can be online businesses, any form of online business. That is our topic of the day today, being #Business Tuesday here on the Morning Informant, live on SITG TV.
And now our social media platforms are always open for you. That is at SITG TV on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And now we're talking about the young telecommunicators in Kenya.
Exactly.
The young telecommunicators in Kenya. And now we are still looking at that, and we know that when you're in doubt, change is important.
Sure.
Yes, and with the paradigm shift and COVID-19 that came in, and most people were rendered jobless, it is important that we look at how people manage to survive, especially the young people. And of course, we are not alone.
Exactly.
We are not alone.
We're very lucky this morning. We have a very interesting and well-informed visitor in our studio today.
Yes.
To help us exactly understand more and actually give answers to the questions from our viewers on all our social media handles and our SMS line, that is 0706083050 this morning.
And we give time to our guests so that they can introduce themselves before we continue with the conversation.
Hello, good morning. My name is Lewis Nyamongo. I'm an online entrepreneur. I'm very glad to be here to share some information with my young entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Okay, and just as you have heard, his name is Lewis. He's a young proprietor, online proprietor. Yes, if that is the right word to use, online proprietor. And we need to understand what happens when that comes in, because it is said, when in doubt, you choose change. When in doubt, you choose change. And with Kenya and the rest of the world dealing with the absence and the adverse effects of the pandemic, it is gradually becoming a digitized world, where we see that digitization is coming in, not only in Kenya, but in the world.
Sure.
Of course.
And globally.
Globally, yes. And maybe, Ngonjo, you add on to that, because you also being a young person.
I remember we used to, there is a time there was this clarion call of analog and digital, and to some extent everyone wanted to feel like I'm a digital person, I'm just moving with technology.
Yes.
And that actually allows us to pose our first question to Lewis, asking him, maybe there is someone who might ask, who is an online proprietor at that time?
Yes.
Maybe what does it mean exactly from Lewis?
Well, being an online proprietor, an online investor, an online business owner can vary from ranges from different forms. One, you can be an online writer, where you write academic articles, transcripts, essays for companies.
Yes.
Two, you can do e-commerce online through services such as drop lifting. This is a process where you import cargo from abroad through shipping, and then you come to sell at a retail price to the fellow Kenyans.
Sure.
You can also do transcription. This is a change of typing from audio to text or video to text. That's captioning, which is normally done in movies. Yes, those basically are the forms on which you can earn money online. There's also freelancing, where if you have specific skills such as web design, you have specific skills such as digital marketing through some companies such as Upwork, freelancer.com, you can sell your skills you can quote your skills for certain prices. Yes.
Okay. And just as you have had it, you can actually be